Hi, I'm Jasmine Camacho, and this is my presentation on Down syndrome. What is Down syndrome? Down syndrome is also known as trisomy 21. It is a genetic disorder in which there is extra genetic material known as chromosome 21. It causes lifelong intellectual disabilities and developmental delays. There are three types of Down syndrome: trisomy 21, translocation, and mosaicism. Trisomy 21 is a non-disjunction which results in an embryo with three copies of chromosome 21 instead of two. The extra chromosome is duplicated in every cell of the body. This type accounts for 95% of cases. Translocation is when there are 46 chromosomes, but there are either an additional full or partial copy of chromosome 21, which attaches to chromosome 14 usually. This accounts for 4% of cases. Mosaicism is a result of a mixture from two types of cells, some containing 46 chromosomes and some containing 47. The 47 chromosomes contain an extra chromosome, 21. Mosaicism is the least common form of Down syndrome and accounts for 1% of cases. Some characteristics of someone who would have Down syndrome are reduced muscle tone that results in floppiness, a small nose and flat nasal bridge, a small mouth with a protruding tongue, eyes that slant upwards and outwards, a flat back of the head, a big space between the first and second toe, broad hands with short fingers. Their palm may have only one crease across it, and below average weight and length at birth. But not all people who have Down syndrome necessarily have any of these characteristics and can look just like people who do not have a disability. Cause of Down syndrome. There is no known cause. It is just a genetic disorder that the baby is born with, and it's a partial or full copy of the 21st chromosome that can come from either the father or mother. Effects on learning. Most children with Down syndrome have delays in all areas of development, such as gross and fine motor skills, personal and social development, language and speech development, and cognitive development. The delays vary with each child. Some will have stronger or weaker in certain areas than others. The development of individuals with Down syndrome is influenced by family, environment, cultural, and social factors just like everyone else. Everyone with Down syndrome will experience some delay in their development and some level of learning disability. Speech and language development is often the area of most significant delay and does not keep pace with abilities in nonverbal understanding and reasoning. Students with Down syndrome generally can express themselves more visually than they can verbally. Short-term memory development is usually poor for people with Down syndrome, and it affects their learning spoken language, which makes learning from listening difficult and affects abilities in thinking, reasoning, and problem solving. Visual memory and visual processing are relative strengths. Early prevention programs in preschool. Most babies and children with Down syndrome attend daycares, playgroups, and preschools with children their own age. Early learning and intervention specialists work with families to encourage learning and development in their daily life for the child. All Down syndrome children should have the same expectations placed on them for good behavior and responsibility as other children do. Children with Down syndrome are expected to be treated the same way and have the same expectations that every other child has. There's nothing different about them. It's just it takes them a little bit longer to learn something. School. Majority of children with Down syndrome make the best progress when they are educated in a mainstream school alongside their peers rather than being in a school with other children like themselves. They are likely to experience success in school when inclusion is embraced and supported. They still need additional support to understand the regular curriculum. Children with Down syndrome learn at a slower rate than children who do not have special needs. And children with Down syndrome should generally be considered visual learners and will benefit significantly from visual reinforcement, visual cues, and concrete materials wherever appropriate. Many students with Down syndrome reach year 12 and go on to post-school training. Ways to help them learn would be to, anytime they learn a new skill, break it down into smaller steps that are easier for them to understand. You may have to keep repeating the process until they get it. They usually work best independently, and they never stop learning. If they're given the opportunity to continue learning, they will keep on learning. Some classroom strategies to help with all of their different delays are to use sign or visual support for communication, since they generally can communicate better visually than verbally. Have small group learning. Seat them near behaved students because they tend to want to do exactly what other people around them are doing. Use the classroom aid for one-on-one help, which is something they'll probably need from time to time, especially as they get older and the gap of learning is going to stretch from how quickly they learn and how quickly their peers learn. Sometimes you can modify class activities to have pictures and written text. Use underlining and highlighting to draw attention to key points, and use technology such as computers. And that is the end of my presentation.